A very good afternoon to all my dear students. Welcome once again on behalf of ICAI for your second session on Companies Act. I hope you are equally excited and enthusiastic for today's lecture. As I always tell you, please be ready with your pens, paper, study material in hand, and let's start with Companies Act Session 2. Good afternoon, Pranati, Komalpreet, Mr. Om Gupta, Rakhi, Mohammed Shoaib, Amit, Aniket, Bhumika, all of you children, Gautam, Amar, Anant, Parth. Aniket, you want to discuss something about limited liability ka first point. Are you talking about the limit? Goel, Chandana, Ayush, Vidisha, Prakriti, Chanchal, Shriya, all of you children, Jia, Valia, Navya. Good afternoon, children. So I hope you have revised what we did in the last session. And today we are going to move ahead with the types of companies. We have already done last time the definition of company. Many a time, students, it does ask you the definition also. So today we will be covering 2 to 3 question paper questions also. So I was going through few of the previous year question papers. वहाँ पे कई बार आपसे ये भी question पूछा जा सकता है, what is capital 1 mark? And then further ahead question for 4 marks. So all those who keep asking the weightage of the chapters, let me just tell you once again, around 14 to 16 marks questions come from your sale of goods and partnership. So sale of goods in itself has the weightage of 14 marks. 16 marks weightage at times, 15 to 16, it keeps varying for partnership. So at times it's 14 marks, at times you have 2 marks more questions. So 16 marks question from partnership. And from Companies Act, 13 marks question paper comes. LLP का तो आपको पता ही है 5 marks का एक standard question आता है, question number 5B part होता है. So आज मैं आपको question papers भी दिखाऊंगी, how the question paper is framed. We will try to do some questions from the last few year question paper related OPC related to holding and subsidiary companies. So first we will try to understand the types of companies and then we will go over them. So definition of company is equally important. You can be asked to write what is a company. We have already discussed the silent features. We read 5 to 6 case laws in the previous class. I hope you have all revised Salomon versus Salomon and Company Limited. Let's have a quick revision of what we did in the previous class. Good afternoon, Rohani, Ayush, Shaiza, Dhruv, Alin, Komal. Meanwhile, others are joining. Let us have a quick revision. Mangal Pali, good afternoon to you and definitely and happy Independence Day in advance to you all as well. Good afternoon, Jolly, Tina, Pavitra, Shruti, all of you. So Salomon versus Salomon and Company Limited में क्या हमने decide करा था that company is a separate legal entity. Company is different and the members who have invested money in the company have different. It has a separate legal entity. In order to save the company and the interest of the investors, lifting of corporate veil was designed. These are the 5 respective cases where the corporate veil can be removed and company and shareholders will be treated as one. Daimler Company Limited is the case law for alien enemy. If the two countries are having war with each other, we cannot have them having a relationship of business, cannot be done with them. All right. Dinshaw Managee Pettit is a very important and interesting case law, which has number of questions examiner has asked on the basis of this case law, where the company, any company is trying to evade the taxes, means where you're not trying to pay the taxes on time, then also the corporate bail can be lifted. And Guilford Motor Company versus Horn is also very well understood by my students. So you remember any kind of fraud if you are doing, children, if you do any misconduct by opening a company, corporate veil will be lifted and you will be treated as one. So testing your knowledge was also done. Today we are going to start with a very new topic that is on the basis of incorporation, types of companies on the basis of liability. So if you'll see now, the study material has actually removed on the basis of incorporation because it simply tells you that the companies can be registered companies, statutory companies, and chartered companies. So children, chartered companies no longer exist now. It is an old type of companies which were earlier formed by, by having the royal character. the person was forming a company. So chartered companies are no longer into existence. Statutory companies are again those companies like insurance companies, electricity company. We discussed in the last lecture also, wherein I told you that, say, for example, our own Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, it's a statutory body, so it is governed by ICAI Act. So every such kind of organizations which have their own respective acts, they are known as statutory companies. They are formed under different statutes. But again, Companies Act is actually applicable to all these companies, where it defines that the concept of separate legal entity and limited liability has to be inherited from the Companies Act. Registered companies are the companies which get themselves registered. So it can be the public company or private company or OPC. All these companies needs to get themselves registered. So it is just the name given, registered companies. All the companies have to get themselves registered with the registrar of companies and obtain the certificate of incorporation. So the major type of company that we started was on the basis of liability. We have already discussed the companies on the basis of liability. Let me take you all to the study material, because that is where we left the last class. So what is the meaning of company limited by shares? Why don't you answer me? Quickly answer me. When the company is limited by shares, yes, Komalpreet, we will definitely do subsidiary companies. East India companies, excellent, Pratyush. It was an example of chartered companies, the old companies which were formed earlier. Now it is no longer in existence. Even if you see in your study material, it straight away starts from the types of companies, that is on the basis of liability. So what is the company limited by shares? Can you please answer me, students? We have already discussed all these points. The liability in case of company limited by shares is limited up to what? Up to the paid value of shares or unpaid value of shares, or you have to pay the share capital. What is that you have to pay? Very good. The capital is limited up to the value of shares. Okay, Gautam. No, that's not correct. Up to the unpaid value of shares. Komalpreet is correct. Prem Kushwaha is correct. Om Gupta correct. Varun Verma correct. Vaidehi, Deepika, Aniket, Vikash. First point nahi samajh aaya. Features limited liability. Okay, Aniket, we will make you understand that point. First point, kaun sa keh rahe ho beta? Features. Common features are you talking? This is what we're just going to start. Okay, don't worry. Shriya, that's correct. So unpaid value of shares is correct. Good afternoon, R. Puneet, Harshita, Prakriti, Naveen, Angel, Kavya, Vidushi, Tina, Komal, Suraj. Everybody is correct. Mohammed Shoaib, Devjyoti, Lavina. Good. That means you have revised your chapter. So if 10 rupees is the value of shares and you have paid 7 rupees, now only 3 rupees is pending. So now if liability of companies occurs during the continuation of company, then you can be asked to pay that balance rupees 3 on the shares. And what is and rest will be paid out of the company's assets. Okay. Ayush Mishra, rest amount will be paid, the liability will be paid out of the company's assets. All right. So now what is the company limited by guarantee? Excellent. Everyone has given the correct answers. Aniket, you are again and again writing features of company limited liability ka first point. Beta, this is the features of company. Features of company ka first point hai body corporate, which tells you that the company kind of corporate kind of structure is formed when the company is formed. And limited liability ka matlab hota hai ki company ki liability limited hai. Number one, it is limited by shares, जो हम अभी discuss कर रहे हैं. दूसरा point है, it can be limited by guarantee. So what is the meaning of limited by guarantee? We have already discussed this one also, that is stipulated some mention in the memorandum. So you will mention that how much liability is, I will be liable only up till rupees 1 lakh I have chosen. My friend Mr. B said that I will be liable up till amount 30,000. So now my liability will be 1 lakh, his liability will be 30,000 only at the time of winding up of the company. So my question to all of you is, in case of company limited by guarantee, ध्यान से सुनो आप, ठीक आंसर दिया आप सबने. In case of company limited by guarantee, let's assume that the company was formed on 1st April 2022 and it is still in continuation. It is not yet wound up. Not yet wound up means it is still continuing. So if this company limited by guarantee is formed and the members are A, B, and C, and there is liability of the companies for rupees 1 lakh, which needs to be paid out of the normal business scenario, out of the normal revenues that we have received, can we ask A to pay off this liability of company out of the amount that he has guaranteed to give? We have formed the company in 1st April 2022. It is not yet wound up. The company is into continuation. Can we ask the members to contribute towards the liability of the company? Yes, ma'am, or no, ma'am, with reasons. Good afternoon, Siloni. Yes, Shriya, that's correct. Om, Mangalpali, all of you are correct. Now answer me this one. So the liability is limited up to the stipulated amount mentioned in the memorandum. That is correct. But my question to all of you is that the contribution that we're going to make, can we ask the members of company limited by guarantee to pay? No, ma'am, we cannot ask. Excellent, because the company has not yet owned up. Excellent answers all of you have given. So no is the correct answer. Why? Because in case of company limited by guarantee, only at the time of winding up, the members can be asked to pay off the liability. Now, quickly, let us do this common features. So what are the common features when the company is limited by guarantee and share capital? In both the cases, the liability is limited, whether up till the amount of unpaid shares or amount the liability is limited to the amount guaranteed, they will not be required to pay more than the amount that they have decided to pay. What is the point of differences between these companies? I told you two major differences. Number one, in the former case means company limited by guarantee. Former means pehli wali. So please mark kar lo. In case of company limited by guarantee, the members will be called upon to discharge only after the commencement of winding up. However, in the later case, later means company limited by shares, likh lena. Former means company limited by guarantee ke case mein. Latter case means in case of company limited by shares, any time during the lifetime of the company or during its winding. So in the same example, if company limited by shares is formed on 1st April 22, and if it is in continuation and still not wounded up, can the members ABC invited to pay off the liabilities? Yes, ma'am. In case of company limited by shares, anytime the members can be asked to pay off the liability during company's lifetime or during winding up. In both the cases, he can be asked. Point number 2, very interesting points of differences. Guarantee company does not raise its initial working funds from members. Where no working funds are needed, these funds can be raised from endowment fees, charges, and donations. Now, children, I told you company limited by guarantee are the companies which are mostly into charitable kind of organizations. So they don't have to invest in their share capital. How they invest the money, the funds will be raised from the endowment fees that you get or from the share descriptions, donations, charges that are being paid by the people. However, company limited by shares, तो share capital नाम से ही पता लग रहा है कि share capital चाहिए उसमें, तो वहां पे members will be taking up shares in the company. Working funds means working capital. जो आप इनिशियली वर्किंग कैपिटल इन्वेस्ट करते हो, शेयर कैपिटल वाली कंपनीज में आप शेयर्स इन्वेस्ट करते हो, कंपनी लिमिटेड बाय गारंटी में डोनेशन, चार्जेस एंड फीस से आपको पेमेंट आता है. Now, Narendra Kumar Agarwal versus Saroj Malu Supreme Court judgment laid down. The Supreme Court said that the right of a guarantee company to refuse to accept the transfer by a member is on a different footing than the company limited by shares. Company limited by guarantee carry privileges which must be different from those ordinary shareholders. Now, in this case law, they basically try to tell you, for example, there is a company which is limited by shares also. अब कोई ऐसी कंपनी भी हो सकती है जो कंपनी लिमिटेड बाय शेयर्स है, कोई चैरिटेबल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, प्लस इट इज अ कंपनी लिमिटेड बाय गारंटी. Now it says, since it is a company limited by guarantee, so guarantee company members will always be given more privilege. What is the meaning of this privilege? Now, if the liability needs to be paid off, if liability of this company needs to be paid off, first shareholders will be invited to pay off liability, and balance, if any, will be paid out of guarantee money. Please write it down. So if it is a company limited, if it's a company limited by shares as well as guarantee, then liability of this needs to be paid off. First, shareholders will be invited to pay off the liability. And still, if there is any balance left, guarantee people will be asked to pay off their money. This is what was laid down in Narendra Kumar Agarwal versus Saroj Mandu case, that the shareholders have to pay their liabilities first, and then the members who have given the guarantee. For example, if liability of any company, if liability of such company is 80,000 and the unpaid share capital is 90,000 and A has given a guarantee for rupees 10,000. How will the liability be discharged? You have to tell me, children. How will you pay off the liability of this company if they have the liability of 80,000 and the guarantee that has been given is 10,000 rupees and share capital unpaid is 90,000? How will you pay off the liabilities? Answer. Very good answers have been given for the previous question. Great. Ayush Mishra, we are discussing the same points of differences. हिंदी में समझा दीजिए, पीयूष भी कह रहे हैं बच्चे हिंदी में इसका मतलब ये है कि दोनों कंपनीज में सिमिलैरिटी है. अदर्स कैन आंसर मी फॉर दिस वन प्लीज. दोनों कंपनी में ये सिमिलैरिटी है कि दोनों की ही लायबिलिटी लिमिटेड है. लिमिटेड का मतलब कि कुछ हद तक ही आप पैसा पे कर सकते हो. शेयर्स वाली में अनपेड वैल्यू ऑफ शेयर्स तक लिमिटेड है. बाकी लायबिलिटी कंपनी के एसेट्स को सेल ऑफ करके पे की जाएगी. कंपनी लिमिटेड बाय गारंटी कहती है कि जितनी मेंबर्स ने गारंटी दी है वो ही अमाउंट उनको पे ऑफ करना है लायबिलिटी पे करने के लिए. लायबिलिटी मींस कंपनी का जो उधार है, पैसा है जो क्रेडिटर्स को देना है, उस लिमिट से ज्यादा मेंबर्स को डिस्टर्ब नहीं करा जा सकता. जैसे कि पार्टनरशिप में अगर आपकी लायबिलिटी अनलिमिटेड है, आपको पर्सनल एसेट्स भी घर से लाकर बेचने पड़ते हैं फर्म की लायबिलिटी पे करने. बट कंपनी की लायबिलिटी अगर शेयर्स एंड गारंटी से लिमिटेड है तो उसको बियॉन्ड नहीं जा. और इनका कॉमन फीचर, ये चीज तो कॉमन फीचर है, लायबिलिटी लिमिटेड है. डिफरेंसेस ये है कि शेयर होल्डर्स की लायबिलिटी कभी भी बुलाई जा सकती है ड्यूरिंग द लाइफ टाइम ऑफ द कंपनी, जब कंपनी चल रही है. एंड गारंटी मेंबर्स की केस में जब कंपनी बाइंड अप, मतलब जब कंपनी खत्म हो जाती है. तो अगर अप्रैल 22 में शुरू करी एंड 31 मार्च 2023 तक सपोज मैंने कंपनी बंद कर दी, तब बंद करने के बाद में गारंटी के मेंबर्स को बोल सकते हो कि आप अपनी लायबिलिटी पे कीजिए. Asha, Tina, Varun, all those who are asking, endowments are the kind of fees that we charge for opening any kind of organization, which is a charitable organization. So you can simply remember the kind of donations that we get from the people will be their capital. Yes, Suraj, it is used for working, running day-to-day business. All right. Unpaid value of the shares, that's correct. Out of 90,000. Excellent. Very nice answers have been given by all of you. So it says first, the shareholders will be paying. So nothing will be required to pay by the members who has given the guarantee. Very nice. First, the shareholders' unpaid value will be called. Here, the company is not wound up. Excellent, Miss Anjali. We also have to see where the company has been wound up or not. So the members given the guarantee have the डिफरेंट प्रिविलेज मीन्स उनको बेनिफिट दिया जाता है कि आपसे बाद में पैसा लिया जाएगा, पहले ऑर्डिनरी शेयर होल्डर से मनी रिकवर की जाए. Wonderful answers given by all of you. Gautam Anand, Jolly Joseph, that's great. Ankit, Apurva, Anand, Vidisha, Maurya, Narendra. I hope Narendra Bhai Maurya, now it's clear. Shruti, Bhumika, Prem, Kavya, all of you are correct. Mr. Soban Patra, I hope you can hear my voice now clearly. Gaurav, you too. All right. Let's move ahead. Now, what is unlimited liability? You tell me. फटाफट से बताओ मुझे unlimited liability में क्या difference आएगा? The liability extends to whole of the company debts and liabilities. Everything has to be claimed. Here, the liability is mentioned in the articles of association. However, when the member ceases to be a member, then his liability will come to an end. आप एक कंपनी में जॉब करते थे, आप एक कंपनी के मेंबर थे जो अनलिमिटेड लाइबिलिटी है, अब आपने वो कंपनी छोड़ दी है. सीजेस मींस जब आप छोड़ देते, तो जब आप छोड़ देते हो फिर आपकी लाइबिलिटी विल आल्सो कम टू एन एंड. As long as the company is a going concern, the shares is the only liability which can be enforced. Creditors can ask for the winding up for their claims. Children, अगर उनके पैसे आप नहीं भर रहे हो तो वो वाइंडिंग अप के लिए रिक्वेस्ट कर सकते हैं in case of unlimited company. So when the company go into winding up, official liquidator will be appointed. He will ask the members to contribute towards the liabilities and the debts of the company, which can be unlimited. Means first they will dispose of the company. Suppose एक unlimited company है मेरे पास अब, ठीक है, तो ये unlimited company का टेबल है, कुर्सी है, फर्नीचर है, सब कुछ है. तो मेरी liability है इस वक्त 8 लाख रुपीस. सो 8 लाख रुपीस कंपनी की लाइबिलिटी है एंड सब कुछ सेल ऑफ कर दिया हमने, कंपनी के सारे एसेट्स बेच दिए, तब भी हमारे पास 6,50,000 रुपीज इकट्ठा हो गया. अब क्या करें 1,50,000 का? हाउ विल वी पे द बैलेंस 1,50,000? द मेंबर्स personal assets will be used, they will be disposed of, and members will have to bring from their house balance 1,50,000 in order to pay off the 8 lakh rupees. This is the meaning of unlimited liability. Clear हो गया? No limit on the liability. Liability ceases when you leave the company. Liability is not unlimited till the company is not wound up. Very very important point. फिर से unlimited company की liability कब call की जाती है? At the time of winding up. तो please children लिख लेना ये 2 point. Company limited by shares. The liability can be called upon any time. The liability can be called upon any time during the lifetime of the company. However, company limited by guarantee as well as unlimited company, the liability arises only at the time of winding up of the company. Members can be called to contribute only in case of winding up. जैसे company limited by guarantee में winding up पे liability आती है, similarly unlimited company में भी winding up पे भी liability. Liability extends to all of the company's debts and liabilities. However, he can claim the contribution from members. तो पहले आप कंपनी के एसेट्स बेचोगे, उसमें से liability dispose करोगे. If it is less, then contribution from members. So this line in English which is written, it is talking about the same thing. First 6.5 lakhs you will pay from company's assets, and balance members 1.5 members will have to contribute if your liability is 8 lakh. Clear hai? Now I hope no doubts about the companies, limited liability companies. Now we have a very very interesting and one of my favorite topics of Companies Act, that is OPC. What is the meaning of OPC? What do you understand from OPC? आप बताओ पहले मुझे, क्या होता है ओपीसी? 1% कंपनी क्या है ये 1%? When you hear the word OPC, what do you understand? What do you mean by the word OPC? क्या लगता है आपको, क्या मतलब क्या है इस बात का? ओपीसी का मीनिंग क्या है, आप बताओ. Thank you, Akshita, Asha, Varun, Frame, writing for crystal clear. That's great. In what proportion, Ankit? Again, it's an unlimited liability. It depends upon what kind of dealings you have made with the company. One member, one person as a member, Sahana. That's great. Angel, Vedi says one member is the Malik of that company. That's great. One person only invests. That's great. So, single person opens up a company. Ayush is saying it's a sole proprietor company, which has only one person as a member. Single person company has only one member is required. That's great. So, what do you understand by this? It says only one member, only the sole person is the person who is the member of this company. Now, what was happening is, I want to expand it at a very, very great length. तो भाई हरलीन मैम उसके पास गए एज अ कंसल्टेंट, उन्हें बोला आपने बिजनेस एक्सपैंड करना है तो किसी और से आपने इन्वेस्टमेंट करानी है तो आप पार्टनरशिप कर लो. तो दैट पर्सन सेड नो 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 मैम, आई डोंट वांट पार्टनरशिप. आई एम वेरी एग्रेसिव काइंड ऑफ पर्सन, मेरी ज्यादा ना बनती नहीं है किसी से. तो पार्टनरशिप में तो मैम आपने बताया था म्यूचुअल फेथ, कॉन्फिडेंस चाहिए, ट्रस्ट चाहिए, लड़ाई झगड़े नहीं करने हैं. तो मेरी थोड़ी नेचर एग्रेसिव है. ये देखते हैं आप सूट बूट डालकर, ये जो अंकल जी खड़े हैं, ये अंकल जी थे. तो ये कहते हैं कि जी मेरे को तो ना अकेले, वन मैन आर्मी हूं मैं, अकेले चलना बहुत अच्छा लगता है लाइफ. तो मैंने कहा फिर अब क्या करा जाए, ये तो पार्टनरशिप भी नहीं करना चाहते. तो कहते हैं फिर बाद में मान भी गए थोड़ा, कहते पार्टनरशिप कर लूंगा बट लाइबिलिटी बहुत बड़ी है, अनलिमिटेड है. मैंने कहा भाई एलएलपी कर लो, लिमिटेड लाइबिलिटी पार्टनरशिप बना लो, क्या फर्क पड़ता है, उसमें भी दो मेंबर्स ले आना और लाइबिलिटी लिमिटेड करा लेना. बट हंगर of entrepreneurship, expansion, corporatization. He wanted to expand his business to a great extent. He wants the legal status. So government thought there are people who are neither interested in setting up a private company. मैंने कहा चलो भाई प्राइवेट कंपनी खोल लो आप, उसमें भी मिनिमम मेंबर्स 2 चाहिए. फिर भाई साहब की वही प्रॉब्लम बनती नहीं है जी, हम तो अकेले करेंगे काम. तो गवर्नमेंट ने कहा ठीक है भाई, तू अकेला ही चल, तू प्राइवेट भी मत बना, पब्लिक भी मत बना, एलएलपी भी मत बना, पार्टनरशिप भी मत बना, तू अकेला एक कंपनी बना. So 2013 section 262 allowed a person like such kind of a person who is really desirous of having a sole proprietor business and now he wants the corporate status of forming a company. A new concept was introduced where the person can alone set up a company. Please mark this line very bold. OPC is different from sole proprietary concern because here we get a separate legal entity and liability is limited of the members. So my liability is also limited and I get the structure of a separate legal entity. However, in sole proprietary children, my liability was unlimited and extend to all the owner's entire asset, official and personal. तो जब मैं ग्रोसरी स्टोर अपनी दुकान में एज अ सोल प्रोप्राइटर चला रही थी तो सारा कर्जा मेरे सिर पे था. मैं ही ओनर थी और ये सारा मेरा ही एसेट है और मेरी ही लाइबिलिटीज है. अब गवर्नमेंट ने मुझे स्मार्टनेस के लिए अलाउ कर दिया, अब मैंने उसे कंपनी बना दिया. अब कंपनी इज डिफरेंट, I am different. Company's liabilities, company will pay. My liabilities, I have to pay. So we get that corporate legal existence in the eyes of law. But my dear students, you again try to do any fraud and misconduct, corporate veil will be lifted. तो वो याद रखना है. ज्यादा खुश नहीं होना है कि कंपनी बनकर थी हम डिफरेंट, कंपनी डिफरेंट, फिर वो आएगा लॉयर कि आपकी कंपनी फ्रॉड कर रही है तो आप बोलोगे गिलफोर्ड की तरह मैं थोड़ी ना कर रहा हूँ, मेरी कंपनी कर रही है. तो फ्रॉड करा, मिसकंडक्ट करा, कोई ट्रेडिंग विद एलियन नहीं करी, डिफ्रॉड करा टू प्रोटेक्ट द रेवेन्यू ऑफ गवर्नमेंट, इवेजन ऑफ टैक्सेस करा, लीगल ऑब्लिगेशन, बोनस नहीं पे करा, हैव टू गो टू द कोर्ट. Corporate veil will be lifted. All right. So one person company, basically it is for having the encouraging the entrepreneurship. People want to come forward and do business at a large scale. So government simplified the procedures also. इसका procedural requirement भी बहुत simple है. Many exemptions are given to a person who is running an OPC. Just because government want you to come as an entrepreneur, you want you to do business, you want you to set up companies. ठीक है ना, आजकल एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप को बहुत ज्यादा इनकरेज, स्टार्टअप्स को बहुत ज्यादा इनकरेजमेंट दी जाती है. So basically that is why OPC was invented. As comparison to people की requirement है, maximum exceed नहीं कर सकते हैं to certain limit, 200 is the maximum limit. Public में minimum 7 members की requirement है. तो ऐसी सारी एक्शंस मिल गई. 1% कंपनी में एक ही बंदा जाकर अपनी रजिस्ट्रेशन कराए और 1% कंपनी खोल सकते. अब ओपीसी इज अ प्राइवेट लिमिटेड कंपनी. एक आपने यहाँ पे मार्क कर लिया ना इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट. अब दूसरा इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट मार्क करो, ओपीसी इज अ प्राइवेट लिमिटेड कंपनी. तो अगर मैं आपको बोलूं ओपीसी पब्लिक कंपनी हो सकती है, तो आंसर इज नो. प्लीज राइट इन योर नोट्स, ओपीसी कैन नेवर बी अ, ओपीसी इज ऑलवेज अ प्राइवेट लिमिटेड कंपनी. तो आप बोलोगे मैम प्राइवेट के लिए तो 2 मेंबर्स चाहिए. तो ये ओपीसी इज द ओनली कंपनी विच इज अ प्राइवेट कंपनी विद 1 मेंबर. ओके. So OPC is a private limited company. It can never be a pub. Yes, it's an improved version of sole proprietorship. That's great. One man show. Suraj, good. वो कंपनी जिसमें एक ही व्यक्ति सदस्य हो. मोनिका चौधरी ने लिखे है. वाओ बेटा, बट थोड़ा इंग्लिश में भी पढ़ो. आपका पेपर इंग्लिश मीडियम आना है, हिंदी मीडियम नहीं आएगा. ओके. आलोक, दैट्स करेक्ट. चंचल, दैट्स करेक्ट. Miss Azmi, 1% incorporated. Yes, that's good. Okay, so all of you have written down this point. OPC is a private limited company. It can never be a public company with minimum paid up share capital. अब ये बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग लाइन है, मिनिमम पेड अप शेयर कैपिटल. तो कहते हैं जितनी भी ना लॉ में उस वक्त लिखी होगी, अब कितनी है वो अभी डिफाइंड नहीं है. तो वट एवर इज द अमाउंट विच इज प्रिस्क्राइब, दैट इज द मिनिमम पेड अप शेयर कैपिटल एंड इट हैज ओनली 1 मिनट. अब अगर मुझे आशा बेगम कहती है कि मैम ए एंड बी ओपीसी खोलना चाहते हैं, तो इज इट पॉसिबल? प्लीज बताओ मुझे. ए एंड बी वांट्स टू ओपन अप एन ओपीसी. कैन दे डू दैट? यस और नो? आंसर इज नो मैम. Only 1% can open an OPC. Second question. Mr. A wants to open up OPC as public company. Okay, that's great. Good, Monica. She's going to give the Hindi medium paper. That's great. So I hope you understand whatever we discuss in class. Good, Purva, Maurya, Vedahi, very nice. No, only 1 member is required for that. Yes, OPC can have a single member. अच्छा, आप दूसरा आंसर दो. So आपकी बात मान लेते हैं, A and B नहीं खोल सकते OP, तो Mr. A तो खोल सकते हैं ना OPC 1%. Mr. A opens up an OPC and got himself registered as a public limited company. So can we have Mr. A OPC limited company? No, ma'am. OPC is a private company. So ये भी no आगे. तो अब हम एक काम करते हैं, हम खोल लेते हैं A OPC प्राइवेट लिमिटेड कंपनी. तो कैसे लिखेंगे हम उसका नाम? कंपनी का नाम होगा AOPC प्राइवेट लिमिटेड. तो ये हो सकता है. यस मैम, दिस इज पॉसिबल बिकॉज OPC हैज सिंगल पर्सन एंड इट इज अ प्राइवेट लिमिटेड कंपनी. सो थर्ड को टिक लगा देना. अपने नोट्स में ऐसी छोटी छोटी स्टोरीज एंड कहानियां लिख लेना. A+B नो, मिस्टर ए पब्लिक कंपनी नो, थर्ड में AOPC प्राइवेट लिमिटेड. यस, इट कैन बी डन. So more you make a tabular kind of information, flow charts in your notes, color them, use different pens, the study becomes more interesting. Okay? चलो आगे चलते हैं. So significant points क्या क्या है OPC के? Only 1% and minimum capital, no limit has been prescribed. तो आप चाहे 1 करोड़ के साथ OPC खोलो, चाहे 10 करोड़ के साथ खोलो, चाहे 1000 के साथ खोलो, कोई भी लिमिट अभी नहीं दी गई. तो जब अमेंडमेंट्स आएंगी, लिमिट प्रिस्क्राइब हो जाएगी, तब उतनी लिमिट होनी चाहिए. एज ऑफ नाउ देयर इज नो लिमिट व्हिच इज प्रिस्क्राइब, सो यू कैन हैव द मिनिमम पेड अप कैपिटल एज पर योर चॉइस. So now very interesting things is going to come up, children. I told you OPC only has 1 member, but OPC needs to have a nominee. Who is nominee? What is the meaning of nominee? We have been using quite often the name of this word. अगर आप कोई बैंक अकाउंट खोलने जाते हो, कस्टमर जाता है सेविंग अकाउंट खोलने, तो आपको बैंकर कई बार बोलते हैं कि आप नॉमिनी अमाउंट अपॉइंट कर दीजिए. सो क्या मतलब होता है उसका? नॉमिनी का मीनिंग क्या है? So nominee is a person who is appointed that tomorrow if you die or anything happened, your bank account balance can be transferred to that nominee. Similarly, since OPC is a single legal representative, very good. Yes, it can be a spouse or next owner, representative of a member on behalf of us. Very good, Saloni, who will take over after the death of the person. अंशुल, वैदेही, विद्या, गौतम, कोमल सबने सही आंसर दिया. तो अब ध्यान से सुनो. अब इसमें क्या होता है ओपीसी में? वो कहते हैं एक ही बंदा है जो कंपनी चला रहा है. ठीक है जी, हमने मान ली सारी बातें. प्राइवेट लिमिटेड कंपनी सेटअप हो गई. ए ओपीसी प्राइवेट लिमिटेड हैज बीन सेटअप. नाउ लॉ थॉट that this alone person is going to do such a great business. Very good. All of you have given the correct answer for nominee. So now pay attention. So memorandum मैंने आपको उस दिन भी बताया था. एक कंपनी के दो इंपॉर्टेंट डॉक्यूमेंट्स होते हैं, मेमोरेंडम ऑफ एसोसिएशन एंड आर्टिकल्स ऑफ एसोसिएशन. परसों वाले लास्ट लेक्चर में हम इंडिपेंडेंस डे के बाद, जो मैं आपको इंडिपेंडेंस देने वाली हूँ परसों के बाद, लास्ट लेक्चर के बाद, उसमें हम डिस्कस करेंगे कि मेमोरेंडम क्या होता है एंड आर्टिकल्स क्या होता है. अभी के लिए सिर्फ आपने ये याद रखना है कि मेमोरेंडम एक कंपनी का बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट डॉक्यूमेंट है. तो इस इंपॉर्टेंट डॉक्यूमेंट में, ओपीसी के मेमोरेंडम में, आप इंडिकेट करोगे द नेम ऑफ द पर्सन who in case of death of this OPC member will become the member of the company. So यहाँ इस थर्ड पॉइंट के आगे लिख लेना नॉमिनी. सो ओपीसी का एक रूल है कि जब भी आप ओपीसी खोलेंगे, तो मिस्टर ए ने ओपीसी खोली थी, सो हम अपॉइंट कर देते हैं मिस्टर वाई को नॉमिनी ऑफ दिस पर्सन. Whenever a person opens an OPC, he has to have the nominee who will take care of his business in case that person who is running the OPC dies. So this memorandum, my memorandum will tell the name of the person who after the death will take care, will become the member of that company. Point number 2 nominee के बारे में है. This other person कौन? ये जो Y है, whose name is given in the memorandum, will give his written consent and it will be filed with the registrar of companies. अब क्या होगा? मिस्टर ए अपनी ओपीसी फॉर्म करेंगे, प्राइवेट लिमिटेड कंपनी है. नेक्स्ट क्लास में मैं आपको बताऊंगी सेक्शन 9 में कंपनी की रजिस्ट्रेशन कैसे हो. तो जब हम वो समझ लेंगे, तो अभी के लिए जब कंपनी की रजिस्ट्रेशन होती है, तो रजिस्ट्रार ऑफ कंपनीज, जैसे फर्म की रजिस्ट्रेशन के लिए रजिस्ट्रार ऑफ फर्म्स के पास जाते हैं, कंपनी की रजिस्ट्रेशन के लिए रजिस्ट्रार ऑफ कंपनीज के पास जाते हैं. तो जब हम अपनी कंपनी की रजिस्ट्रेशन कराने जा रहे होंगे, तब वाई से एक रिटन कंसेंट लेकर जाएंगे कि यस आई एग्री टू एक्ट एज द नॉमिनी ऑफ मिस्टर एक्स. So Y's written consent will also be filed with the registrar of companies at the time of incorporation, means at the time the company is formed. Incorporate hona means company form kar. Point number 3 of nominee. Such person have the right to withdraw his consent. Now Mr. Y, this nominee, feels that I'm not having good cordial relationships with Mr. X. This, Mr. X already हरलीन मैम को बोल रहा था कि मेरी तो जी बनती नहीं है, पार्टनरशिप भी नहीं करूंगा, एलएलपी भी नहीं करूंगा, अब नॉमिनी से भी नहीं बन रही है. तो नॉमिनी wants to withdraw his consent. I don't want to be a nominee. I will not take care of your business after you die. So he can withdraw his consent for whatever reason he wants. The reason is not specified in law, but right has been given to Mr. Y that such other person, means the nominee, can withdraw his consent, means मना भी कर सकता है कि अब मुझे इनके साथ नहीं रहे, इनके नॉमिनी नहीं रहे. पॉइंट नंबर 4, द मेंबर ऑफ द ओपीसी. मेंबर ऑफ ओपीसी कौन है? मिस्टर ए है. May at any time change the name of such member by giving notice to the company and company shall intimate the same to registrar. Similarly, O can also change the nominee anytime. So Y, who is the nominee, he can also withdraw his consent. A, who is the main member of OPC, he can also change the nominee anytime by giving the notice to the registrar. तो आप नोटिस भेज दोगे रजिस्ट्रार के पास चेंजेस करके भी, अब Y मेरा नॉमिनी नहीं है, अब X मेरा नॉमिनी. whosoever you. Any such change will not mean the alteration in the memorandum. Alteration in the memorandum is a very, very big topic in itself, which my students are going to study in CA Inter. मैंने आपको उस दिन भी बताया था कंपनी लॉ बहुत ह्यूज है, बहुत बड़ा है. उसका एक छोटा सा पार्ट हम सीए फाउंडेशन में करते हैं, क्योंकि हम आपकी फाउंडेशन ले कर रहे हैं. तो जब फाउंडेशन ले की जाती है तो थोड़ा सा पढ़ाते हैं, जैसे प्री प्राइमरी में, प्राइमरी में, फिर सेकेंडरी क्लास में बहुत बड़ा पढ़ाते हैं. तो अभी हम थोड़ा थोड़ा पढ़ेंगे, फिर इंटर में हम पूरा का पूरा ऑल्टरेशन ऑफ मेमोरेंडम, आर्टिकल्स की ऑल्टरेशन, इन सब चीजों के बारे में स्टडी करेंगे. So any such change is the name of the person, will not be an alteration of memorandum. Okay, so it अगर आप बंदे का नाम change करे हो, तो that does not mean that the memorandum will be changed. There will be no such changes made in the memorandum. You simply have to send an intimation to the uh, registrar of companies. Now, who can be an OPC? I would request you all to read the points that we have just covered, and let's take a small break here. And after the break, I'm going to tell you who can act as an OPC. All right, welcome back, students. What is ROC? Rohit is asking. ROC is Registrar of Companies with whom you get yourself registered. The memorandum is the main document of the company. That's correct, Komal. It has the rules and regulations. For rules and regulations, you have articles of association, Rohit. So you have to get these documents registered with the Registrar of Companies. And at the same time, when the nominee is being appointed, that nominee's consent will be taken that, yes, I have agreed to act as the nominee of this OPC. So his consent will also be filed with the ROC. ROC is the Registrar of Companies. Kavya has a question. If liability is paid off, the unpaid currently has to be. Mr. Kavya Agarwal, again, the example that I showed you where the liability was 90,000, 80,000, the unpaid value on shares was 90,000. So now shareholders have only paid the liability. So the members who have limited the liability by guarantee will not be asked to pay the balance amount. So Jolly Joseph, nominee is not acting in the business. Nominee's role will happen only in case of the death of the subscriber. Who is the subscriber? Subscriber is the person who is acting as the member of OPC. When he dies, then nominee will come into the picture. He will become the member and he will take over the assets and liabilities. Dipanshu Goyal, so nominee is appointed in order to take care of the assets and other things of the OPC member. All right. Ayush Mishra, you will get all the notes at the portal. So once we are done with the Companies Act, the notes will also be uploaded. Partnership and sale of goods have already been uploaded over there. Aditi Singh is asking the meaning of corporatization. So corporatization means for expansion of the companies, for more and more encouraging people to come into business and setting up of the companies is known as corporatization. Means we want people to establish the OPC and get the legal structure of the company. Definitely, liability of OPC is limited. It's a private limited company, okay? All right, Ms. Komal, just remind me towards the end of the lecture, we will discuss the tips about the timetable and how to study being a regular college student also. So these things we will try to take up at the end of the session. Minor can never be a nominee, Mr. Gautam Verma. I will just cover this point. Harshita Minor cannot be a member. Even he cannot become a nominee in the OPC. So one unlimited company, the name itself suggests the liability is unlimited. Means आपको अपने personal assets भी dispose of करने होंगे company की liability pay करने के लिए. However, company limited by guarantee is more or less a charitable organization where your capital is coming in the form of fees and charges and donations from the public. And here the liability is not unlimited. It is limited up till the amount that you have guaranteed. All right. Let's move ahead. I hope all the doubts have been clear. Now let us understand who can open up an OPC. Only a natural person who is an Indian citizen, whether he is a resident in India or not, stayed in India for a period not less than 120 days. So if you're having the previous old study material, it was the limit of 180 days. However, amendment has been made and the latest amendment says that the minimum number of days that the person should have stayed in India in order to open up an OPC is 120 days of. So for a period of not less than 120 days means 120 or more. Number one, he should be an Indian citizen. Number two, whether a resident or non-resident. So who is a resident, non-resident? When you start studying income tax in CA Inter or your BCom second or third year, you will understand what is taxation. Taxation में आपको पढ़ाया जाएगा. Who is a resident in India, who has stayed in India for 180 days or whatever are the other terms and conditions. However, for OPC, we are not minding whether he is a resident or non-resident. So whether he is resident in India or not means whether he is a non-resident, not ordinary resident or an ordinary resident, whosoever he is. We are not worried about that. But he should be an Indian citizen. And number two, he should stay in India for 120 days. Number three, during the immediately preceding financial year. So if we talk about immediately preceding financial year, so if the assessment year 23-24 is going on, so the immediately preceding previous year will be 1st April 22 till what date? 31st March 2023. This is the financial year. Children, financial year, calendar year होता है एक financial year. Calendar year जनवरी से दिसंबर तक का होता है. Financial year अप्रैल से मार्च तक को कहते हैं financial year. तो इमीडिएटली प्रीसीडिंग फाइनेंशियल ईयर कौन सा होगा? अभी वाला साल अगर चल रहा है तो आपका 1 अप्रैल 22 से लेकर 31 मार्च 2023 में, इस प्रीवियस ईयर में, द पर्सन शुड हैव स्टेड इन इंडिया फॉर 120 days. Only that person can open up an OPC and only that person can act as a nominee for the sole member of OPC. So आपका नॉमिनी भी वैसे ही 120 days रहा होना चाहिए, and only 120 days person can be a member. So both the conditions, it is the condition for member of an OPC also, as well as for the nominee also the same condition. So now let me ask you a question. So if I say Mr. A stayed in India for 2 months in previous financial year, can he open an OPC in India? Yes or no? Mr. A stayed in India for 2 months in the previous financial year. Can he open up an OPC in India? Miss Azmi, partnership is different from company. So you're asking what is the difference between partnership and unlimited company? Partnership has a different kind of status and structure that we have discussed. So for this respective question, please refer to the points of differences between partnership and a company. So company, any company, private company, public company, or limited or unlimited company, company is always different from partnership firm. If you simply ask unlimited liability, both of them have unlimited liability, but a company is a separate legal entity concept. Partnership has mutual agency. It does not have any separate legal concept. So all those points of differences will come. Excellent. All those who have answered, no, ma'am, he does not fulfill the condition. So that's great. So he cannot open up an OPC at the same time. Okay, so let's say no, because less than 120 days. So can't open up an OPC. Up. He wants, so let's say that he has stayed for 6 months in previous year. Then 6 months, then yes, he can, because more than 120 days. अब ध्यान से सुन. He wants to appoint Mr. X as nominee, who is a foreign citizen. Can X act as a nominee? Can X, a foreign citizen, act as a nominee? अपराजिता, रेजिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया आपको नहीं पढ़ना है. रेजिडेंट नॉन रेजिडेंट की डेफिनेशन इनकम टैक्स में दी जाती है. यहाँ के लिए you simply have to remember whether he is resident. So resident in India means a person who has been residing in India for a certain number of days, but you don't confuse yourself with those number of days, because for OPC you have to learn 120 days. Okay. So can this person, Mr. X, can be appointed as a nominee who is a foreign citizen? No, ma'am, he cannot be appointed because foreign citizens are not very good. Shriya, Tina, Chanchal, Apurva, Suraj, M. Gauda, Abhishek, Miss Azmi, Ankita, Angel, Varun, very good children, because only Indian citizen plus 120 days condition, then only you can become a member or nominee. तो कंडीशंस दोनों के लिए. फॉरेन सिटीजन नॉमिनी खोल OPC खोल सकता है इंडिया में? यस और नो? प्लीज ये लिख लेना. Indian citizen plus 120 days condition, then only you can act as a nominee or open up an OPC. Can a foreign citizen open up an OPC in India? Yes or no? Again, Miss Koshki Gupta, you are saying resident of India. I'm saying don't confuse yourself whether resident in India or otherwise means whether you are resident in India or you're not. So that is immaterial. 120 days is the condition and Indian citizen जरूरी है होना. अगर foreign citizen है, very good. You cannot open up an OPC. Let's move ahead to another point. No person shall be eligible to incorporate more than one OPC. तो क्या मिस्टर ए इंडियन सिटीजन है और 120 डेज इंडिया में रहा तो वो ओपीसी खोल सकता है? यस मैम, वो ओपीसी खोल सकता है. क्या मिस्टर ए 3 ओपीसी खोल सकता है इंडिया में? यस और नो? Yes, Anand Goel, foreigner cannot open up an OPC. That's great. No, Alin Shri says foreigner can open if he stays for 120 days. No, beta, no. Only a natural person who is an Indian citizen. Natural person का मतलब क्या है? अभी ये भी बताती हूँ नेचुरल पर्सन का क्या क्यों कह रहे हैं यहाँ पे. इंडियन सिटीजन प्लीज ध्यान से पढ़ो. सिर्फ इंडियन सिटीजन ही ओपीसी खोल सकता है. फॉरेन सिटीजन जो फॉरेन में बॉर्न हुए हैं, बॉर्न एंड ब्रॉट अप फॉरेन सिटीजन है, वो नहीं खोल सकता. So Mr. Alok, again, if he's a foreign diplomat, if he's a foreign citizen, even if he stays for 120 days, then also he cannot open up an OPC. Yes, Namanpreet, that's correct. And the other one also, correct answer has been given. No, he cannot open 3 OPCs, ma'am. He can only open 1 OPC in India. And also, he cannot be nominee in more than 1 OPC. Okay, tell me one thing. Mr. A is the member of OPC. Can he be the nominee of another OPC? Can A be nominee of another OPC? Very good, Aditi, Monish. All of you are giving correct answers. Monica Chaudhary, good. Sahana, Komal, सबने ठीक दी. Yes, natural person is human being. That's good, Komal. But मैं फिर भी आपको बताऊंगी. एक point है उसमें भी. So can Mr. A be nominee in another OPC? Yes, ma'am. He can be. And no, he cannot. Why? He can be nominee in another OPC, but only in one OPC. So Mr. A, आप simple language में लिख लो. Mr. A can open only one OPC and also he can be a nominee of only one OPC. नॉमिनी बन सकता है वो भी किसी और ओपीसी में, पर सिर्फ 1 ओपीसी. तो ओपीसी का मतलब ही 1 है. 1% कंपनी तो 1 ही खोलनी है, 1 ही पर्सन है और 1 पर्सन ही किसी और में नॉमिनी हो सकता है. No person shall be eligible to incorporate more than 1 OPC or become nominee in more than 1 such company. ठीक है? So he can only appear, he can only be nominee in 1 person company. All right. You cannot incorporate more than 1 OPC. Neither you can be a nominee in more than 1 OPC. So not Mr. A, Mr. X. I'm sorry, I took the same nominee name. So Mr. X was the nominee in a company. Who was the nominee? I think A was the member. So Mr. A is the member. He cannot have more than 1 OPC. And Mr. X, the nominee who was appointed, he can also be nominee in only 1 OPC. Okay. No minor can be a member or nominee. Can we have minor as a nominee of OPC? No, ma'am. Can we have minor as a member of OPC? No, ma'am. So minor का कोई लेना देना नहीं है. Minor OPC नहीं बना सकता. Neither he can hold any beneficial interest. ठीक है ना? So partnership में आप member ले रहे थे उसको for a beneficial interest, but OPC में minor cannot be included. OPC cannot be incorporated or converted into Section 8 companies. So Section 8 companies are the charitable kind of companies, charitable organizations which are opened up for charitable purposes, for promoting any sports, education, or any other kind of things. But OPC can never be a Section 8 company. You cannot say, Mr. A cannot say that I am opening up an OPC for a charitable purpose. Mr. A opening up an OPC for providing free education to females, for doing any kind of charity for promotion of education. That cannot be done. You cannot open up an OPC, which is a Section 8 company. It may be converted into public or private companies in certain cases. अब वो कह रहे हैं ओपीसी को पब्लिक या प्राइवेट कंपनी में कन्वर्ट करा जा सकता है, बट दैट कन्वर्जन इज पार्ट ऑफ योर सीए इंटर. अभी आपको वो कन्वर्जन नहीं पढ़ना, बट येस इट कैन बी कन्वर्टेड इनटू प्राइवेट. So for converting into private company, OPC needs to add 2 members minimum हो जाएंगे and maximum 200. It becomes a private company. So public company बनाना है, OPC को convert करना है, तो minimum 7 members ले आओ, unlimited number of members in maximum, then you can become a public company. So it can be converted into private or public company, but it can never be a Section 8 company. So अपने notes में आप लिख लेना आगे वाले points. एक definition आ जाता है. हाँ, natural person. Can ABC Limited open up an OPC? एक company है ABC Limited. Can ABC Limited open up ex-OPC? कंपनी ने कहा मैं भी एक कंपनी खोल लेता हूं, तो क्या कंपनी एक ओपीसी खोल सकती है 1% कंपनी? आप बताइए मुझे. Yes, Vastika, if he's not born in India but belongs to India and has Indian citizenship, so we have to see the importance of citizenship. If he is an Indian citizen, then yes, he can open up an OPC. So you are saying yes, Monica is saying yes, ABC Limited can open up an OPC. Rohit Apurva Parv says no. So tell me, children, can you open up a company? No, company cannot open up an OPC. Very good, excellent. Monish Bindal, excellent answer, because only a natural person means only a human being can open up an OPC, not an artificial person. ABC Limited is an artificial person. It is not a natural person. So a company cannot open up an OPC. Only a human being can open up an OPC. Muhammad Ayan, that's correct. Amit, correct. Anshuka, Gaurav, Aprajita, Prem, Bhumika. If you appoints one person as a member, Mohammed Shoaib, then that individual can open up an OPC. Company will never open. Okay. All right, correct, children. So we have done all these points. Definition of who can open up an OPC: natural person. Point number 1, Indian citizen. Whether a resident or non-resident, he can tell you that a non-resident has opened up. So resident in India or otherwise, that is not a problem. 122 is in India. Yes, he has stayed. He can be a member. He can be a nominee. So nominee and member दोनों के लिए condition है. Can you be more than one OPC? No, you can only open one OPC. Can you be a nominee in more than one OPC? No, you can be nominee in only one OPC. Can a minor open OPC? No, minor cannot be a member or nominee in OPC. Can it be converted into public and private company? Yes, you can convert it into public and private company, but you cannot convert it into Section 8 companies. They are the NGOs, non-profit organizations, charitable organizations. नहीं हो सकते. OPC is always for corporatization, commercial transactions करने के लिए आप OPC को. Such companies cannot carry out non-banking financial investment. So कोई non-banking NBFCs होती है, non-banking financial institutions like investment करना, securities and other corporate bodies में invest करना. So OPCs cannot be NBFCs also. If any company, if OPC contravenes the provisions, contravenes means if he tries to be nominee in more than one company, if he has open up more than one OPC, then a fine of 10,000 rupees will be charged. Also 1,000 rupees for every day for which this contravention continues. So you can write down in head of this point, this is about the penalty. So any provisions of OPC are forfeited, then 10,000 rupees penalty is charged, as well as 1,000 rupees additional for every day for which the contravention happens. So OPC is 1% company, private in nature, encourages entrepreneurship, procedural requirements is separate. And what do you get? You get a separate legal entity. And what is the liability of OPC? Is it limited or unlimited? OPC की liability बताओ मुझे, limited है unlimited है? Shruti Tiwari, we have a last lecture on day after tomorrow. So that is when we will be meeting next. Company is an artificial person. Yes, Koshki, that's correct. Bhumika, that's correct. Yes. Then we have to register that company again. Koshki, if you're a registered company and you have registered yourself as an OPC, then that's fine. Limited liability is correct. So OPC always have limited liability. Good. So we will do private and public companies and holding and subsidiary, and then I will take you into the question paper. Okay. So what is a private company? Private company has a very interesting definition. It says a company having the minimum paid up share capital, which restricts the right to transfer its shares, and except in case of one person, it limits the number of members to 200. Now, why is it accepting? What is the maximum number of members you can have in one person company? It says private limited company can have maximum 200 members. So what is the maximum number of members you can have in one person company, children? Let's do some brainstorming. Exactly one. Ankit, Komal are the first one to immediately give the answer. Suraj, Shriya, Gauda, Vidushi, excellent. All of you are correct. Mr. Uzair, Nazir, Jolly, Jyoti, Azim, all of you are correct. So one, in case of OPC, one ही minimum है, one ही maximum है. बट अब आपको ये ध्यान रखना है, अगर आपको प्राइवेट कंपनी की डेफिनेशन आ जाए तो प्लीज बच्चा सेक्शन अगर ना भी याद रहा, लिखकर ऐसे एज इट इज डेफिनेशन आनी है. सेक्शन 2 सबसेक्शन 68 याद हो जाता है तो बहुत बढ़िया, नहीं याद होता है तो एज पर द प्रोविजंस ऑफ कंपनीज एक्ट 2013, प्राइवेट कंपनी इज अ कंपनी हैविंग मिनिमम पेड अप कैपिटल एज मे बी प्रिस्क्राइब. सो व्हाट इज दैट प्रिस्क्रिप्शन, अभी पॉइंट्स में पढ़ लेंगे. एंड आर्टिकल्स ऑफ एसोसिएशन, उसके आर्टिकल्स में क्या बताया गया होता है? रिस्ट्रिक्टिंग द राइट टू ट्रांसफर एंड नंबर ऑफ मेंबर्स आर 200. प्राइवेट कंपनी के शेयर्स को ट्रांसफर इजीली नहीं करा जा सकता. रिस्ट्रिक्शन मतलब उसके ऊपर एक रोक है, रिस्ट्रिक्शन है. You cannot transfer the shares of private company to another person. So if I am Harleen Kaur, I have taken up the shares in ABC Private Limited, I cannot transfer my shares to DEF or Mr. D or Mr. E, anyone. There is a restriction on the right to transfer the shares, and ABC Private Limited cannot have more than 200 members. ये भी आप लिखोगे डेफिनेशन में, provided where 2 or more persons hold 1 or more shares in a company jointly, they will be treated as a single member. अब A and B दो members हैं, but इन्होंने shares jointly held करे हुए. इन्होंने 10 shares held करे, 5 each, but jointly. Now A and B will be treated as a single member. So while counting 200 members, you will say 1 plus 199. So that is the limit how you have to count. You will count A and B as together as 1 member. Then your 200 members should not be exceeded. So what is the definition of private company? Number 1, company which has the minimum share capital. Number 2, by its articles, it restricts the right to transfer the shares and limit the number of members to 200, provided 2 or more persons holding the shares in a company jointly will be held as one single member. So as it is private company की definition आपने learn कर लेनी है. एक और इंटरेस्टिंग बात, persons who are in the employment of the company or who have been formally means पहले, old employees, formally means पहले अगर employment में थे, where members of the companies while in that have continued to the members shall not be included in the number of members. So वो कहते हैं जो भी कंपनी की एम्प्लॉयमेंट में, अब मैंने प्राइवेट लिमिटेड कंपनी खोली है तो 200 मेंबर्स हो सकते हैं मैक्सिमम, बट जो मेरे एम्प्लॉयमेंट में है, जो मेरे एम्प्लॉइज है मेंबर्स, या फिर जो पहले मेरे एम्प्लॉइज थे, उनको 200 की लिमिट में नहीं काउंट करा जाएगा. They will not be included in the number of members. So, for example, I have A and B who are jointly holding the shares in my company. ठीक है? I have 18 more members in my company. 180 more members in my company. And I have 8 employees of my company. So, how many number of members I'm having in a private limited company? Tell me. If A and B are jointly holding, two shareholders are jointly holding the shares in a company. Kavya has sent a smiley of laughing. Did I say anything? I don't know. Maybe. It is a private company, that company which is not a public company. Very good, Anjali. Yes, it's a company which is not. Okay. Yes, OPC ka one minimum and one maximum. That was just to make you laugh. Krishnam, why are you saying 50 members, beta? 200 is the maximum limit. So how many are the number of members? A and B will be treated as one member. 180 members already hai. 8 employees ko count nahi karna. So total number of members of this company are 181. So they are less than 200. So it is a valid. 181 is the correct answer. 189 is wrong, Deepika. 180 is also wrong, Rohit. And 181, all those who have written, is the correct answer. And third point, it prohibits any invitation to the public to subscribe for the securities. What is the meaning of this line? If I'm inviting public to invest in my company, then I become a public company. Private है ना, ये तो public नहीं subscribe करेगी. So when public start taking up my shares, I become a public company. So prohibits means मना करता है that public cannot invest in my company because it's a private limited company. सो इसमें जनरली जो क्वेश्चन आता है ना, वो ये नंबर ऑफ मेंबर्स के ऊपर आता है. हम अभी कर लेंगे प्राइवेट लिमिटेड का. नंबर ऑफ मेंबर्स के ऊपर ही क्वेश्चन आता है. आपने सिर्फ 4 पॉइंट याद रखने हैं. इट हैज रिस्ट्रिक्शन ऑन द राइट टू ट्रांसफर द शेयर्स. नंबर ऑफ मेंबर्स मिनिमम 2, मैक्सिमम 200. Employees and past employees are not included in 200 limit, and they do not invite the public to subscribe for its securities. So ये इसके significant points है. No minimum paid up capital. मैम कितनी capital raise करें? No limit has been given. No, Saloni, 1% cannot become a public company. Mohammed Shoaib, members are the persons who have invested as a share capital in the company, and employees means the employees of the company who are working in the employment. All right. So minimum 2, except if private companies in OPC, there will be 1. So ये सबको पता ही है कि 1 OPC का नाम ही 1 है, minimum maximum दोनों 1 है. यहाँ पे 200 excluding means not including employee cum members, present employee cum members, erstwhile employee cum members. Okay. So जो member, कई बार जो आपका शेयर होल्डर है वो employee भी होता है, तो जो member employee भी है उसको नहीं include करें 200 members. Right to restriction on the shares of transfer, prohibition. Small company is a private company, OPC is a private company. तो प्राइवेट कंपनी हमने पढ़ ली कौन सी होती है, और 2 और कंपनीज कौन सी हैं जो प्राइवेट कंपनी की तरह खुल सकती हैं. ओपीसी इज ऑलवेज अ प्राइवेट कंपनी. एंड अभी हम आगे जाकर एक डेफिनेशन करेंगे स्मॉल कंपनी. स्मॉल कंपनी मीन्स एक छोटी कंपनी जिसकी मैक्सिमम लिमिट 4 करोड़ एंड 40 करोड़ तक है, बट दैट इज अ स्मॉल कंपनी. दैट कैन ऑल्सो बी ओपन अप एज अ प्राइवेट कंपनी. So if I ask you, OPC can be a public company? No, ma'am. OPC is always a private company. Can small company be a public company? No, ma'am. Small company is also a private company. So what is small company? Small company भी देख लेते हैं. Section 2 subsection 85 define करते हैं small company, जिसमें paid up other than the public company. तो अभी हमने पढ़ लिया. नंबर 1 पॉइंट है मैम, small company is always a private company. तो ये हमेशा एक प्राइवेट लिमिटेड कंपनी है. प्राइवेट कंपनी का मतलब होता है जिसकी शेयर्स ट्रांसफरेशन पे रिस्ट्रिक्शन है, मिनिमम 2, मैक्सिमम 200 वाली लिमिट स्मॉल कंपनी पे भी लगती है. Yes, Namanpreet, the minimum prescribed limit is given in the articles. As of now, there is no minimum limit that has been prescribed. तो स्मॉल कंपनी हमेशा एक प्राइवेट कंपनी रहेगी. पॉइंट नंबर 2, इसकी पेड अप शेयर कैपिटल कितनी होनी चाहिए? लेस देन 50 lakhs. एंड टर्नओवर कितनी होनी चाहिए? इट शुड नॉट एक्सीड 2 करोड़ रुपीज. तो कोई भी ऐसी कंपनी जिसकी पेड अप शेयर कैपिटल 50 लाख रुपीज से कम है, So 50 lakh rupees is the limit, and turnover is less than 2 crore rupees as per the profit and loss account, then that private company is known as small company. And what is this? The higher limit that has been prescribed. Maximum limit kahan tak ja sakti hai? 10 crores and 100 crore has again been amended in 2022. So I will show you in the amendments right now what is the exact definition of small companies. Let us go to the amendments. I promised you earlier also, I will be showing you the latest amendment. Now, children, this is the only amendment that has happened in the Companies Act. तो जल्दी से देख लो इसकी अमेंडमेंट. ऊपर वाली सारी अमेंडमेंट्स एलएलपी की हैं, आप सारी रीड कर लेना. एलएलपी की अमेंडमेंट्स कंपनीज एक्ट में नोटिफिकेशन 15 सितंबर 2022 में एक ही अमेंडमेंट आई है, दैट इज इन द डेफिनेशन ऑफ स्मॉल कंपनीज. अर्लियर प्रोविजन मींस पहले क्या थी प्रोविजन? पहले उसने कहा था सेक्शन 2 सबसेक्शन 85 डिफाइंस पेड अप कैपिटल ऑफ स्मॉल कंपनी शुड नॉट एक्सीड 2 crore and 20 crore was the upper limit. जो मैंने आपको अभी दिखाई ना 10 crore वाली, वो पहले थी 2 crore and 20 crore. Now that upper limit has been exceeded up till 4 crore and 40 crore. तो वो कहते हैं एनी कंपनी जिसकी टर्नओवर 50 लाख से लेकर 4 crore तक है, एंड जो सॉरी मिनिमम पेड अप कैपिटल 50 लाख से 4 crore तक हो सकती है, एंड टर्नओवर 2 crore से 40 crore तक हो सकती है, दैट इज नोन एज स्मॉल कंपनी. अब इसको याद कैसे करना है, ये आपने अमेंडमेंट नोट डाउन कर ली. पेज नंबर 5.11 में चलते हैं स्टडी मटेरियल में. सो लेट अस ओपन पेज नंबर 5.11. सो आई विल मेक यू मार्क डाउन दिस अमेंडमेंट इन पेज नंबर 5.11. सो दिस इज योर पेज नंबर 5.11 एवरीवन. सो वो कह रहा है पहले अमेंडमेंट आई थी 2 crore and 20 crore की, अब उसको आपने रिप्लेस कर देना है. 2 crore को बच्चे रिप्लेस कर दो विद 4 crore एंड 20 crore को रिप्लेस कर दो विद 40 crore. डेफिनेशन में कहां करेंगे? ये 10 crore को काट कर दो 4 crore, 100 crore को काट कर दो 40 crore. अभी आपको क्या कहना चाह रहे हैं, ये आपने करना है अपने स्टडी मटेरियल में चेंज. ये वाली अपर लिमिट है जो डेफिनेशन जब आप लर्न करोगे, या तो आप एज इट इज डेफिनेशन लर्न करके नीचे अमेंडमेंट लिख सकते हो. पहले 2021 में अमेंडमेंट हुई थी 2 crore और 20 crore करा था. अब 2022 में सितंबर में दोबारा अमेंडमेंट हुई है, 4 crore और 40 crore कर दिया गया उसको. आपने कैसे लर्न करना है? मैम, स्मॉल कंपनी इज अ कंपनी विच इज अ नंबर 1 प्राइवेट कंपनी. नंबर 2, द पेड अप शेयर कैपिटल शुड बी लेस देन 50 lakhs और such higher amount not more than 4 crore rupees. तो मैक्सिमम कहां तक जा सकती है? 4 crore, 50 लाख से 4 crore rupees. टर्नओवर क्या हो सकती है? मिनिमम 2 crore तक अगर रुपीज से कम है, या फिर मैक्सिमम लिमिट विच शैल नॉट बी मोर देन 40 crore. सो इस तरह से आपने 4 and 40 crore चेंजेस करके ये आपकी स्मॉल कंपनी की डेफिनेशन बन जाएगी. एग्जामिनर आपको 3 मार्क्स में या 2 मार्क्स के क्वेश्चन में पूछ सकता है कि प्लीज डिफाइन स्मॉल कंपनी. उसमें आपने ये सारे पॉइंट्स लिखने हैं. प्लस एक्सेप्शंस. स्मॉल कंपनी डज नॉट अप्लाई टू होल्डिंग एंड सब्सिडरी कंपनी. तो होल्डिंग एंड सब्सिडरी कभी भी स्मॉल कंपनी नहीं हो सकते हैं. सेक्शन 8 कंपनीज को स्मॉल कंपनी एप्लीकेबल नहीं है. कोई भी गवर्नमेंट कंपनी को स्मॉल कंपनी एप्लीकेबल नहीं. सो कैन अ होल्डिंग एंड सब्सिडरी भी स्मॉल कंपनी? नो मैम. कैन सेक्शन 8 भी ओपीसी और स्मॉल कंपनी? नो मैम. कैन गवर्नमेंट कंपनी भी a small company? No ma'am. So small company can only be a private company. It cannot be a public company also. ये भी लिख लेना. Small company can never be a public company. ये लर्न करना है बच्चा आपने सबने. Turnover means the sales. प्रिया, रितु, all those who are asking, turnover मतलब आपकी जो इनकम है, सेल्स जो थी as per the profit and loss account. आपको याद है प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस अकाउंट आप ऐसे बनाते हो, यहाँ पे बाय सेल्स लिखते हो. तो ये जो आपकी ग्रॉस टर्नओवर है, जो आपकी सेल्स है, जो आपने बिजनेस करा है, रेवेन्यू अर्न करा है एज पर द प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस अकाउंट, टर्नओवर जो आपकी है. अपराजिता, अर्स्टवाइल मींस पुराने, ओल्ड एम्प्लॉइज. अर्स्टवाइल मींस द ओल्ड. All right, children. So please go through small companies. I think we should take a break here because we have so much more to do and otherwise you'll get confused. So small company के बच्चा ये notes पढ़ लो छोटे वाले. Public company की definition भी खत्म कर देती हूँ. Public company is a company which is not a private company and has minimum paid up share capital. अब ये तो बिल्कुल ही सिंपल है. अगर आपको प्राइवेट कंपनी आती है तो कोई भी ऐसी कंपनी जो प्राइवेट कंपनी नहीं है और जिसमें पब्लिक इन्वेस्ट करती है वो पब्लिक कंपनी है. सो पब्लिक कंपनी के पॉइंट्स क्या लर्न करने हैं हमने? इट इज नॉट अ प्राइवेट कंपनी. शेयर्स आर फ्रीली ट्रांसफरेबल. नो मिनिमम पेड अप कैपिटल. मिनिमम नंबर ऑफ मेंबर्स 7 in public. Maximum no limit. And subsidiary of a public company is always deemed to be a public company. Very, very important point. Subsidiary कौन होती है? अगर A होल्डिंग कंपनी है, सपोज A इज अ प्राइवेट लिमिटेड कंपनी. सो अगर इसकी सब्सिडरी बी है तो वो भी प्राइवेट लिमिटेड कंपनी होगी. एंड अगर ए पब्लिक कंपनी है then if B is private limited company and A is holding this company by investing more than 50% of the share capital, then this B will also be treated as a public company. Okay. So subsidiary of a public company will always be considered as a public company. So a company which is formed for any lawful purpose having 7 or more members will be considered to be a public company. And the subsidiary of a public company, subsidiary का meaning मैं अभी आपको कराऊंगी, फिर आपको ये वाला meaning समझ आएगा. So let's hold on this point. Let's take a small break here and then we will move ahead and complete this chapter, holding and subsidiary and other all types of companies. Let's take a small break. Read small company, OPC and public and private company. All right, welcome back, students. And Miss Bhumika Seni, it's the same that you have to follow for small company definition. Don't worry if in the book it is different definition given. We have just made the changes in the definition as per the amendment. So in small company children, wherever it is written 10 crores, you will change it to 4 crores. And more than 100 crores will be changed to 40 crores as per the recent amendment of September 2022. Yes, Rohit, public and private companies are different, but again, the public sector that you're calling is the public company. That's one of the same thing. All right, now let's move ahead to the holding and subsidiary company. I think public and private is completely clear now. Let us understand what is the holding and what is the subsidiary company. So holding company is another very, very interesting definition, children. First of all, it says company over here means any body corporate. So वो आपको पता ही है company का मतलब क्या होता है. Swastika is asking, can small company be converted into private company? Number one, small company is a private company itself. So conversions of companies into another company is part of your CA Inter. You will study it in detail. What you have to remember, Swastika, over here is that a small company is already a private company. It cannot be a public company. It cannot be a holding and subsidiary. And I'm sorry, I forgot, I have to take your quiz also. So you tell me, children, can small companies open up as Section 8 companies? Yes or no? Can a small company open up as Section 8 companies? Send me your answers. Thank you, Komal. I'm glad you're finding law easy now. Very good. No, it cannot happen. That's correct. No is the correct answer. So question number 2. Can OPC be a public company? Yes or no? फटाफट से भेजना आपने आंसर, टाइम नहीं लगाना. Can OPC be a public company? No, ma'am, OPC cannot be a public company. So very good. OPC is also a private company. Small company is also a private company. Can we have, where is small company? Where is small company? Okay, another question. Can a small company, a private limited, can be a holding company? Can a small company be a holding or a subsidiary company? Excellent answer for OPC. You all have given. Wonderful. Won't be taking your names because then it'll take too long, but otherwise good answers. And no, ma'am, for the third one also excellent. So small company cannot be a holding or subsidiary. It cannot be a public company. It cannot be a Section 8 company. OPC cannot be a public company. It is always a private company and it cannot be a Section 8 company. Now we are taking the names of holding and subsidiary again and again. Let us understand what is holding and subsidiary. So point number 1, a company which is controlling the composition of board of directors. BOD matlab board of directors. A company which is controlling your board of directors. Board of directors कौन होते हैं बेटा? कंपनी के जो हमने डायरेक्टर्स अपॉइंट करें. कॉम्पोजिशन को कंट्रोल करना मीन्स उनकी अपॉइंटमेंट कैसे होगी, रिमूवल कैसे होगी डायरेक्टर्स की, what powers will be given to them. All these is being controlled by one company. Now there is a company which is trying to control your board of directors. Okay. So there is a company A Limited which controls, BOD means board of directors of B Private Limited. So A Limited becomes, what will A Limited becomes? It becomes dash company. Will it become a holding or subsidiary company? आपने पढ़ा हुआ है अकाउंट्स में भी. If A Limited controls the board of directors of B Private Limited, then A Limited becomes, why am I using caps? A Limited becomes dash company. बताओ बच्चों. Composition of board of directors hold करना means Suraj, we will just go to your query after we are done with the syllabus. Please remind me then. Now, students, please give me the answer of the question that I'm asking. Small company can't be holding and subsidiary. That was correct answer given by all of you. Jia Walia is saying A Limited will become subsidiary. Anjali is also saying the same. Oh my God. More is also saying the same. A Limited is controlling the board of directors. If I'm trying to control you, I will become your subsidiary. Vidisha, Parv, Harshita, Prem. Good, correct answer. Mohammed Shoaib, correct answer. Shriya, correct answer. Deepika, Kushi, correct answer. Shruti Tiwari, correct answer. M. Gauda, correct answer. So A will become bacha holding company. If A is controlling your board of directors, पहले तो control करना board of directors means आपके board of directors कैसे appoint होंगे, कैसे remove होंगे, ये holding हमने decide करती है. तो जब ऐसा yes Varun Verma, it's a parent company. That's correct. Yes, now everyone has given the correct answer. A Limited is the holding company. Yes, that's correct. So that is what we are doing over here. Number one, if A Limited controls the board of directors of B Limited, so A Limited will become the holding company and B Limited becomes the subsidiary company. B will become the subsidiary company. अब अगर आप उसकी डेफिनेशन देखोगे तो डेफिनेशन में और दिया हुआ, तो ये समझ आ गया सबको. अगर ए लिमिटेड उसके बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स को कंट्रोल करता है तो वो होल्डिंग कंपनी बन जाएगी एंड द अदर वन विल बी सब्सिडरी कंपनी. और if you are controlling more than half of the total voting power, means voting power means share capital. If 50% of the share capital is being held by one company of another company, then that company becomes your holding company. Let us take another example. If A Limited holds 60% of share capital of C Limited. If A is holding 60% of the share capital of C Limited, then which is the holding company and which is the subsidiary company? Please tell me, students. I want to study from you today. Which is the holding, which is the subsidiary? A Limited holds 60% of the share capital of C Limited. तो कौन holding है, कौन subsidiary है? More than half of the total voting power, Dhruv, means that more than half of the share capital I'm holding in your company. So please answer me for this one, children. If A is holding 60% of the share capital of C Limited, so holding company is, I will write what my children will tell me today. A will be the holding company and C will be the subsidiary company. Excellent. So A Limited is the holding and C Limited is the subsidiary. Very nice. आपको तो 2 मिनट में समझ आ गया. तो हमें डेफिनेशन पता लग गई. अगर आप बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स कंट्रोल करते हैं, और अब ये और बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग, थोड़ा सा ट्विस्ट लाते हैं. A Limited holds 40% of the share capital of C Limited and controls the appointment and removal of directors. Will your answer still remain same? If I'm holding less than 50% of the share capital and I'm controlling the appointment and removal of your directors, will A still be the holding company and C will still be the subsidiary company? Yes, ma'am, or no, ma'am? Can we still say A is the holding company and C is the subsidiary company? If yes, why? इस तरह से आपने छोटी छोटी क्वेश्चंस फ्रेम कर कर थ्योरी लर्न करनी है, देन इट विल बिकम वेरी इजी जनरल. Kaushik Chaudhary, what did not understand? Okay, don't worry. But others are answering it so beautifully. Okay, Bittu Singh, I'll just explain. Yes, ma'am, the same control, because it controls the composition of the rectors. Very good. Prakriti Goyal and Om Gupta. Very good. M. Gora has also given the answer. Parv says, no, ma'am, now he is not holding company. चलो अब ध्यान से सुनो. नमन ने भी कह दिया no, ma'am. Oh, wow. Amar is also saying no, ma'am. That means you have not listened the word or carefully. और का मतलब होता है ये या वो. You want a red color pen or pink color pen? तो choice है either this or this. If I say students, please write your answers with red and blue pen, तो कंपल्शन है दोनों पेन्स यूज करने हैं. अगर मैंने कहा रेड और ब्लू, तो आपके पास चॉइस है. अब डेफिनेशन में चॉइस, वो कहते हैं अगर आप बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स की कॉम्पोजिशन होल्ड करते हो या फिर और or you try to have more than 50% of the share capital, then in that case, annotations have gone. चलो कोई बात. Then in either of the case, चाहे आप 50% शेयर कैपिटल होल्ड कर रहे हो या फिर आप बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स कंट्रोल करते हो, इनमें से आप कुछ भी करते हो तो आप बन जाओगे होल्डिंग कंपनी और दूसरी कंपनी बन जाएगी आपकी सब्सिडरी. So you will become the parent company and the other company will become your subsidiary. अब हमारे क्वेश्चन में मैंने आपको बोला 40% शेयर होल्डिंग अगर मैं होल्ड कर रही हूँ, बट इसमें ये वाली कंडीशन सेटिस्फाई हो रही थी दैट आई वाज कंट्रोलिंग द बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स, देन आल्सो आई बिकम अ होल्डिंग कंपनी. If I'm not controlling the board of directors, I'm holding 50% of the share capital, then also I become a holding company. तो इन दोनों में से कुछ भी अगर एक कंडीशन सेटिस्फाई हो रही है, then the company will become the holding of another company, and the company which is being held is known as subsidiary company. जैसे कि इंटरनेशनल एक्विजिशंस में टाटा स्टील यूरोप, टाटा स्टील थाईलैंड, ऑल दीज आर टाटा मेटालिक्स, टाटा स्टील, ऑल दीज आर द सब्सिडरी कंपनीज. सो मेजर टाटा कंपनीज होल्डिंग ऑल दीज कंपनीज, it is having either more than 50% of the share capital in these companies, or it is having the composition of board of directors in their own hand. Whatever is the case, it becomes a holding and subsidiary. When we do the examples from the study material, it will become more clear. Okay. एसोसिएट कंपनी अभी नहीं करेंगे, पहले आपको होल्डिंग सब्सिडरी अच्छे से समझाते हैं उसमें से स्टडी में से. सो वो कहते हैं होल्डिंग कंपनी इज कंट्रोलिंग द बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स. प्लीज इस और को बोल्डली मार्क कर लेना. और इट इज एक्सरसाइजिंग मोर देन वन हाफ ऑफ द टोटल वोटिंग पावर टुगेदर और विद वन और मोर इट्स सब्सिडरी. नाउ दिस इज मोर इंटरेस्टिंग. वो कहते हैं या तो मैं खुद होल्ड कर रहा हूँ 50% शेयर कैपिटल, वन हाफ ऑफ द टोटल वोटिंग पावर, ईदर ऑन इट्स ओन और विद माय सब्सिडरीज. तो ये एक और इंटरेस्टिंग आ गया. अब ए लिमिटेड इज होल्डिंग 30% ऑफ द शेयर कैपिटल in B Limited, plus it holds it both boards of directors also. तो अगर ए ने 30% शेयर होल्डिंग होल्ड करा है और बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स को भी कंट्रोल करता है, तो बी लिमिटेड क्या बन जाएगी? ए की सब्सिडरी का. नाउ इफ बी लिमिटेड इज होल्डिंग 50% of the share capital of C Limited, so C Limited will be subsidiary of whom? If further B Limited is holding, Amit is saying diamond clear, Anant is saying crystal clear. Wow. Now please tell me, if A is controlling the board of directors and 30% share capital of B, so B becomes subsidiary of A. And B is further holding 50% share capital in C. So A will be the holding company. That's correct, Gautam. But I'm asking, Out of B and C, who is holding and who is subsidiary? So B is holding company of subsidiary C also. Now, children, C will also be the subsidiary of A. This is the meaning of having a subsidiary of subsidiary. तो C A की भी subsidiary बन जाएगी क्योंकि along with this 30%, the subsidiary is holding 50% further in C. Now C will become subsidiary of A also. Let us understand with beautiful examples given over here. ये देखो बेटा, composition of board of directors यहाँ दिया हुआ है, means appointing on removal or majority of directors. Company means body corporate. Layer means subsidiaries. Layer of subsidiaries. So if B is a subsidiary of A, C is a subsidiary of B, so C will be the subsidiary of A. अगर उसकी आगे D subsidiary है तो D will be subsidiary of B. एक पल में नहीं समझ आता है, आप आज नोट्स बनाओगे, लिखोगे इन एग्जांपल्स को, फ्लो चार्ट्स बनाओगे, ए की सब्सिडरी बी, बी की सी, सो सी विल आल्सो बी सब्सिडरी ऑफ ए. इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट क्या है यहाँ पे समझने वाला? स्टेटस ऑफ अ प्राइवेट कंपनी. नाउ व्हाट हैपेंस, आई वाज टेलिंग यू बिफोर गोइंग फॉर द ब्रेक, देयर इज अ प्राइवेट कंपनी ए प्राइवेट लिमिटेड विच इज अ सब्सिडरी ऑफ पब्लिक कंपनी. तो एक पब्लिक कंपनी है डी लिमिटेड कंपनी which is holding this subsidiary A private limited. अब जब D लिमिटेड कैपिटल A प्राइवेट लिमिटेड का होल्ड करेगी तो कौन सब्सिडरी बनेगा, कौन होल्डिंग, पहले ये बताओ. D लिमिटेड इज होल्डिंग more than 50% of the share capital of A private limited. So which is holding, which is subsidiary? D is holding and A private limited is subsidiary. Very good. So now it says a private company, so a private company है, which is subsidiary of public company. आप ही ने बोला मैम subsidiary है D limited की. Shall deem to be a public company for the purpose of this act, even where such subsidiary continues to be private company in its article. अब वो बोलता है क्योंकि प्राइवेट लिमिटेड सब्सिडरी बन गई है डी लिमिटेड की पब्लिक कंपनी की, therefore A company will also be treated as a public company. Means now, although in its articles it is being considered as private company, but now since it is subsidiary, it will also be treated as public company. It can transfer its shares, minimum maximum number of members of public company, whatever provisions are applicable to public company, they will become applicable to this company because a public company is holding this company. So that private company, although in its articles it still continue to be a private company, however, it will be considered as any subsidiary of a public company will also be deemed to be a public company. Okay, so even if you're a private company, once the public company holds your shares, you become a public company for the general public. समझ आ गया? Let's do this definition, but before the definition, I wanted to do a question paper with all of you children, because that is more important. And also MCQs. I think let's do the question paper because we haven't done the question paper. All right. Let us do this question paper today. So this is your question paper, examiner question paper, which I wanted to discuss with all of you. So I told you around 13 marks questions come from Companies Act. So this is the question number 6, third part, 3 marks question, which has come. All of you are requested to read this question. Mr. R is an Indian citizen and his stay in India during the immediately preceding year was 130 days. He appoints Mr. S, a foreign citizen, as his nominee who has stayed in India for 125 days. Can R open up an OPC in the company? If yes, can he give name of Mr. S in the memorandum as his nominee? Please justify your answers with the relevant provisions of the Companies Act. I give you 1 minute. Quickly go through this question and give me your answers right now without cheating and finding where this question has come up from. So those who will give the answer quickly will be giving it without finding and cheating the answers. So please give me the answer for this one. Let me understand how well my students have understood OPC today. Miss Komal, if you make a regular timetable, if you will give equal prioritization to all your subjects, then definitely you will be able to do the syllabus. And children, don't keep worrying so much कि कैसे होगा, कैसे करना है, करने से होगा, सोचने से नहीं होगा. Equal weightage should be given to all the subjects, as I tell you every day. So please try making a flow charts about understanding and definitions that we have done today. Keep doing it, what we are doing it right now. Okay, so all the syllabus has to be managed well on time by making a proper organizer and timetable so that you fit in the details over there and you're able to complete. Divide your day into different hours. OPC cannot open more than one OPC. Okay, where is your answer? I'm looking into another answers. Because he's not a resident in India, or cannot open. Very good. Excellent. Ayush, Apurva, Angel, Harshita, Gautam, Deepika, Maurya, Shriya, Vikas Jha, but he cannot admit S as a nominee. Excellent. Pavitra M. Goda. Wow, students, you have answered, all of you have answered this question correctly. Let me show you quickly an answer for this, how you have to write in the question paper when you get such question. It's very, very simple. So firstly, you will define what is OPC. As per the provisions of the Companies Act, ma'am, only a natural person who is an Indian citizen and resident in India, stayed in India for more than 120 days is eligible to open up an OPC and can be an. So in the given case, आप इसमें facts of the case दोगे. तो आपने आंसर कैसे लिखना है? 3 पैराग्राफ्स में आप आंसर लिखते हो, चाहे वो 3 मार्क्स का है, चाहे वो 6 मार्क्स का है. केस स्टडी आपने हमेशा ऐसे अटेम्प्ट करना. So number 1 paragraph is the concerned provisions. So this is the concerned provisions. This paragraph is known as facts of the case. So what are the facts which are given in the case? Facts of the case are R is an Indian citizen. He stayed for 130 days. So that's great. Since he has stayed for 130 days, that means he has met the requirement of 120 days. So he is eligible to open up an OPC. Now, what is the conclusion for S? S name is mentioned as nominee, but he stayed in India for more than 120 days, but he's a foreign citizen. Therefore, we cannot give his name as a nominee. Foreign citizen के base पे इसको nominee नहीं लिया जा सकता, because an Indian citizen can only open up an OPC and only an Indian citizen can be a nominee. All right. So if you allow me, we can do one more question that I wanted to do with all of you of holding and subsidiary also. We have 2 minutes कर लेंगे. Well done, you have answered it correctly. एक और करके दिखाओ मुझे 3 marks का ये वाला question. BC Private Limited and its subsidiary KL Private Limited are holding 90,000 and 70,000 shares in PQ Private Limited. इसको थोड़ा टाइम लगेगा, थोड़ा ध्यान से पढ़ना. BC Private and subsidiary है KL Private. They are together holding the shares in PQ Private. Paid up share capital is 30 lakhs. That is 3 lakh equity shares of ₹10 each fully paid. So total 1,60,000 they are holding out of 30 lakhs. Analyze with the provisions of the Companies Act whether PQ Private Limited is a subsidiary. अब PQ कौन सी है? ये है आपकी PQ Private Limited is a subsidiary of BC Private Limited. What will be your answer if they are holding 1,60,000 shares in PQ Private Limited and no shares are held in BC Private Limited. Why don't you click a picture of this question and come with the solved answers in the next class? So this is a very, very interesting and important question. Piyush Kumar, the notes for Companies Act will be uploaded. Don't worry. Children, I think this question needs a detailed discussion. So let's keep on this question for hold. Any other doubts if you have, because वो हो नहीं पाएगा इतनी जल्दी में आपसे ना, and for then it will spoil the fun of that question. You come prepared with the holding and subsidiary in detail, and then we will do in detail questions for this. As of now, any queries you can please feel free to ask. I'm here for one more minute. If you want to ask any questions, please ask, children. OPC is now crystal clear to all of you. You have given the correct answers. इसी तरह से आपको अपने notes बनाने हैं, revise करना है. Small company भी अच्छे से पढ़ लेना. Next class में मैं test लूंगी आपसे 4 crore and 40 crore वाली provision का. And we will finish with the type of companies. We will revise the previous thing. And only 2 important topics are left for the next class. That is memorandum and articles. Thank you, Komal. Thank you, Jia Walia. Thank you, Aniket. Thank you, all of you children. Thank you, Saloni. Shareholder liable leaves the guarantee will be liable. Yes, definitely. Miss Khushi Gupta, if he is leaving the company, he will have to pay whatever is the winding up of the company. He will have to pay for that. Aniket, fully paid up means when the shares have been completely paid up. There is nothing unpaid value on the shares. Definitely, Alok, we will complete the entire chapter in the next class, and also the question paper question that I was just discussing. I will do that. Ankit Gupta, only a person with a sound mind can be appointed. Thank you, Vidisha. Apurva, so that is only for the public company where it is holding the private company. If private company is holding the private company, then it remains private. If private company is holding any other kind of company, then the status will not change. It is only with the public company is holding a hold on any private company, then it will change into a public company. Suraj, which significance of small company are you asking? बेटा एक बारी देख लेते हैं कौन सा point कह रहे हो आप. What point you want to ask in that? Why don't you send me your exact question, Mr. Suraj? Small company significant point. Which significant point, beta? We have just covered the significant point. So it is not a private company, the minimum paid up share capital. So it is again giving you the definition. The significant point small company is telling you where the paid up capital is less than 50 lakhs, your turnover is less than 2 crores, then that company is known as small company. Okay? Thank you, Jyoti Kumari. Thank you, Bhumika. Thank you, children. Thank you, Priyanshu, Sahana, all of you. Thank you, Shruti Tiwari. I'm glad it's your favorite subject. Good. All right. Nice. So now it is no more complex. That's good. I hope, Suraj, your query is now clear. Yes, Mr. Amit, I know that. So I hope you keep revising. Don't worry. You bring your doubts. We'll try to finish off your doubts in the last session. That is day after tomorrow. A very happy Independence Day to all of you. Enjoy your holiday tomorrow. And then we see you on Wednesday and wind up the entire syllabus. Thank you so much. Goodbye. Take care.